Coming to you live from the garage inside my head. It's Cool Wheels Round Town. I'm your host, DK. Come along for the ride. The recent surge in Bronco popularity due to Ford bringing to market a modern interpretation of the first generation hit, and a number of people ahead of the curve recognizing the restoration potential of those first gen Broncos, has led to a market mainly open only to those with really deep pockets. There are in between generations of these Broncos, 2 through 5, and there's also the compact version called the Bronco 2. These vehicles are still available at entry level prices and have decent part support, but understand with the V8 models you're going to pay for it at the pump, and if the early 90s versions of these things are like their other Ford siblings of that era, you're also going to pay for it in mental anguish running down electrical gremlins in these 30-plus-year-old vehicles. For starters, say it with me, Ford fans, salt and pepper shakers. I'll do my best to categorize these Broncos by generation from what can be seen in the photos. There's a few in the neighborhood. Let's have a look. We'll skip right over the second generation Broncos because there aren't any around here. This early third gen Bronco is very stock and original looking down to its front hub lockers poking through OEM hubcaps. Here's another with lockers, big tires, a straight bar grille mod, and a windshield visor that complements the overall look of the vehicle. The updated rolling stock on this two-tone Bronco just looks right with the tan and white paint scheme. No fourth gens around here. This dark blue fifth gen Bronco looks fairly intact, but it hasn't moved in years. This Eddie Bauer edition is also complete and fares better as a driver than the one previously shown. There's two Bronco 2s in the neighborhood, one a parker and one a driver. This dark blue and cream Bronco 2 hasn't been registered in years and is sinking on its tires. This sun-shaded silver model gets driven regularly. There's a few of the Bronco's competitors around from Chevrolet, Jeep, and International Harvester. Most closely related in size to the Bronco 2 was Chevrolet's S10 Blazer. I haven't seen one of these in years. This early 90s model has its share of off-roading mods, along with scorching red paint. Like the second through fifth gen Broncos, the Chevrolet K5 Blazer was full-size. This mid-80s K5 looks like a partially finished project that hasn't moved for years. The grille is the biggest missing piece of the exterior. Get it rolling! Here's another intact mid-80s K5 with hinged topper windows and one of those cool-looking airflow deflectors on the topper's back. This one hasn't moved for years either. I don't see too many of these second-generation Jeep Cherokees around. I saw this mid-90s example at the hardware store one day. It looks all business. What happened to the design of the Cherokee since then? Oh, I know what happened. Chrysler. Today it is unbelievably ugly. Thankfully, this visual disaster ceased production in early 2023. I'm not super familiar with the International Harvester Scout, other than to say I've always liked their looks. It's hard to believe the last Scouts were built over 40 years ago. Like the Bronco and others, the Scout rightfully has its own following with off-road and restoration enthusiasts. There's a couple and a single in the neighborhood. This pair of Scout 2s look to be survivors of some Arizona off-road roughhousing. The one on the right still has its original metal hardtop. The one on the left looks to have a fiberglass hardtop. Note the extra lift clearance with the leaf springs mounted above the axle. This Scout 2 Rally with a soft top still wears its original paint and has also been lifted. This one with the leafs under the axle. I love the color on it, perfect for its desert environment. What's interesting to think about is the Scout, the Bronco, the Cherokee, and the K5 were groundbreaking in their day and led to the creation of whole new vehicle categories that we take for granted today, the sport utility vehicle and its numerous variants with acronyms galore. Will any of these current day versions be as cool as these innovators? I'll leave you to ponder that. Until next time, I'm DK.